Shape of Water is directed by Guillermo del Toro. It stars Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer, and Michael Shannon. And it's about a woman who is a cleaning lady at this lab of some sort. And on her job, she finds out about this creature being held in this tank. Feelings get formed between this aquatic creature, and then sort of the story continues from there. I don't want to really get into heavy spoilers into this one. So I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro. I think he's a visionary director. I think Pan's Labyrinth is probably on my top 10 favorites of all time. It is such a great movie, and I'm really glad that he's back to this dramatic sort of fairy tale building. I mean, I just saw Pacific Rim as well, which was an action-packed romp, and I enjoyed it, and Crimson Peak was just okay to me. I liked it. I thought, once again, visually appealing, but there just wasn't that much meat to it. So now we have The Shape of Water. I'm going to get into what I really liked about this movie, and then I'll start talking about what I didn't like so much about this movie. One thing I did like about this movie is the performances across the board are just hands down fantastic. I mean, Sally Hawkins delivers a great performance. She plays a mute, so she doesn't speak a word hardly at all in this film, and she just conveys her feelings, and she conveys what she's trying to get across so well with just her facial reactions and her emotions, and I think she did a fantastic job. And then Michael Shannon, I can't say enough about this guy. He is one of my favorite actors working today, and he is just menacing as the villain in this movie. I think his performance is really something I can't praise enough about this movie. I think it is its strongest asset by far. Also, the visuals in this movie are fantastic. The cinematography is top-notch, and I don't know if it's going to beat 2049 Blade Runner in the Oscars or not for cinematography. Some people say that it probably will just like take it away from 2049, but for me the visuals were fantastic, not as great or stunning as they were in 2049. And also the direction from Guillermo del Toro. He did win the Golden Globe for this movie, and I think it was well deserved. I mean, he did a great job with this movie. It swiftly moves along. It is just amazing to look at, and it's just a very beautiful, graceful film. It's a nice clash between modern and classic films to me. The special effects are all, well, not all, but a lot are practical effects, especially the suit worn by the creature. And everything like that, and it looks great. It really does. It's a fascinating creature to look at. The design is top-notch. The performance from the person in the suit is really good as well. And this thing holds a lot of surprises through the film. He almost starts showing off what he can do a little bit more as the movie goes, and they present it beautifully in this. So all of that, the setting, it's a really good looking movie, and that's where its strength is. When it comes to the story, I couldn't get into this. I really was going into this movie wanting something truly emotional. I really wanted to feel something. I was going to be like, this is going to be really an experience of a movie. And although it was visually, I didn't really get into the love story between the woman and the creature all that much, because I found it to be more creature-esque than I did man. And so I didn't really see much of a human side to it. It was very primal. It was hard for me to really see why the connection was there. I know why there was a connection there, and it really sort of just tells you why there's a connection between the two of them, which, although these emotions were wordless, I just didn't really feel, especially the sexual attraction between her and the creature was very off to me, very bizarre, and there was some uncomfortable moments. I was in that theater with maybe about 6 other people, and there were some times people were laughing at what was going on because it was uncomfortable, and I think people, when they are uncomfortable, laughter is their instinctual nature to just sort of laugh at it because they don't really know how to feel. And in this one, I mean, I didn't totally reject the love story. I just couldn't totally get behind it either. The story also is a little bit by the numbers. Although Michael Shannon's performance is commanding, it is amazing, and he brings everything he possibly can to this, as he does with any performance. It just is this sort of generic villain also. I think that this movie has a lot of strengths, and I would say for the most part it outweighs the weaknesses. There are some moments of shocking gore, as Guillermo del Toro likes to do. I mean, he makes these adult fairy tales, and there are some shocking imagery in this where I'm just like cringing in my seat because of how violent and how shocking, like just all of a sudden it is. And I don't fault it for that. I kind of like that kind of stuff about Guillermo del Toro. I think he reminds the audience, like, you're watching a rated R movie, so you better believe that you're watching a rated R movie. So, but all in all, I enjoyed my time with The Shape of Water. I think it's masterfully directed, and just really well acted. I just think that the story wasn't as compelling as it could have been.
Buffs.
Okay, so those are my thoughts on The Shape of Water. Now it's time to put a score to it. I like this movie. I think it's a really well-made film, and if you're a fan of Guillermo del Toro and his visionary style, I think you're really going to dig it, but it just didn't quite grip me the way I wanted it to, so I'm going to go 7 out of 10 on The Shape of Water. I did like this movie. I do recommend this movie. It just wasn't everything I wanted it to be.
Buffs.
So that's my review of The Shape of Water. Have you guys seen the film? What do you think? Leave all your comments down below. We have so many exciting things coming to you this year in 2018, so we'll be bringing you a lot more reviews, a lot more content, a lot more skits, all sorts of stuff. So look forward to that. But remember, there's no place like the theater.